I'm Bet from Bet's Makes, and today we're going to play around with some infusible ink markers. And you can see by this design, this is the design we want to draw on a plain piece of paper, and then we're going to iron it onto a t-shirt. Now, I ironed it on, and I also added a few extra colors, and this is a dark colored shirt, but you can see the design here. It turned out beautifully. Now, if I'd used something of lighter color, it would probably have been far more vibrant. But the point is you are able to get it onto your shirt at this point. So let's move over to Design Space and start preparing to use our infusible markers. We're going to have a lot of fun today making these infusible ink t-shirt with flowers. We have some really great designs that we're going to use. So I'm going to start this by just hiding my text. And we have a new project started, so we're going to upload an image, and actually we're going to upload a couple of images. As you can see, I have flowers 02 and flowers 01. These are PNGs, but we don't want those. I'm going to upload this one first, flowers 01. Take a second, I'm going to leave it at flowers 01 and click on upload, and then I'm going to upload flowers 02 as well. So make sure you upload both of these files because we're going to start to play with a lot of these flowers inside and how we can use them with infusible ink. So those are all uploaded. What I want to start with, let's start with this first one that we uploaded, flowers 01. I'm just going to click on it and I'm going to insert the image. Now these are what we want to put on a t-shirt, but I want to treat these eventually. So I want to put in a template right here because we're going to be using a t-shirt, and I think I'll just use the classic polo for now. And that will give us a men's short sleeve. No, for me, I want a women's short sleeve, and I'm going to make it extra large. Then I'm going to take my flowers and just to see how big I can make them when I'm going to use them. Now that is pretty small, so I am just going to enlarge them a bit so I know the size I can work with. That gives me a great idea. Now I'm going to come back down here because it zoomed me way out. I'm just going to make it a lot bigger so I can start working with these. Don't worry about the template in the background. It will not have anything to do with what you're going to do. So we're going to start with these. I'm going to ungroup them. Now this particular one, it is the basic cut, and it has some other leaf parts that you're going to see here. Now if I decided I wanted to draw all of this on, it's going to come up with an outline. So let's take a look and see what that will be. So I want to do a pen, and it'll just take a second or two. And I'm going to change that pen. It doesn't matter what color I choose, it depends on what I want to do. So you can see where that's going to become a pen in the background for this. So let's take a look at our flower. Let's see what's, highlight this just so we can see it. Sometimes it's hard to see what you're looking for in layers panel, but it is here somewhere. Okay, so this one, I can just move it out of the way. This is what it will draw. Now what if I wanted the inside pieces as well? As you can see, there's a lot of smaller inside pieces. I don't have to worry about these outside pieces because I don't need those anymore. I've got the outline. So I'm going to delete these. I'm also going to highlight all of these, and I am going to change those to draw as well, and draw pen. Perfect. So they'll all draw as a pen, and I can change, I could not leave it as black. I want something different for the orange, so maybe I make those turquoise. Perfect. So I want these to all draw together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this back over top approximately where I want it to draw on my shirt. You can see we can get in some lines here. You just have to estimate it. It doesn't matter if they go over top of each other whatsoever. All right, that looks really good. So I'm going to highlight both of those. I am going to attach them. So that is one flower that we'll use. Now we can decide what other flower we want. I'm suggesting perhaps 2 or 3. You don't need the 4th one in there. And I'm looking at maybe taking this rose next, and we can work on that rose. And we're going to look and see what it has over on the side here. You'll see it's a darker gray. So we have a lot of stuff that's set to a basic cut. So I'm going to change it right away to a pen. And I am going to change that color to a raspberry. And then I'm going to make sure I attach that together. Now that was a simple one. I wanted this one in 2 colors. This one will be in 1 color. Now we can take this one as well. And they're set to a basic cut. But we could decide whether we wanted 2 different colors in here. And perhaps not, because we can color them by hand when we get there. So let's come up to the operations, and then let's go back to our pen. And black is not my favorite color, so let's go for a nice purple color for this one. Just click away. That looks really good. I'm going to attach those together. Now we can decide how we want these to line up on our t-shirt. And remember, we had the template up. It seems to have disappeared on me. I'm not too sure if I want to use this one yet. And well, let's just change it from a basic cut to a pen. And let's change its basic color. Let's make it a wine color. And then we could decide that maybe on these parts down here, we can make those ones a green. Make them a dark green, so we have something a little different. And I just want to attach all of those pieces together. Now we want to be able to make our arrangement now onto our t-shirt. So let's go back to the templates. I lost my template for some reason, and we're going to click on the classic polo. And it's set for men's again, so I'm going to set it for women's, and you can go small. I always go large, just so that I can have various designs. So now we can decide, how do we want to arrange this? Perhaps we want to bring in a couple of things like this. We can have a couple of flowers that are arranged across the center here. Another one on top. Of course, we have all these beautiful little flower designs that we can do. Maybe another one here, and let's duplicate this one, and let's just flip it around over this way. I'm just using the little wheel, and we can bring it around this way. So that's a cute little flower design that we can put on there. Now we want to make sure that this all goes on the same piece of paper that we're going to do, and of course everything is attached. We can flatten it, we can do anything we want, but now we know exactly what we want. I'm going to bring it up. Now these are all pieces that are drawn on. So let's see what happens. Let's first save it. So let's save our item. There we go. Now this is for Infusible ink. So let's take a look and see what happens when we click on Make It. They say, wow, it may take a moment, but it's going to sort our mats into colors. And you'll see that they are all on the same mat except this last one. And we're going to move that onto the first mat. So let's move our object, and we're going to put it on the first one. Let's confirm it. Now we have to decide the arrangement. Remember how we had things, so we may decide to arrange it right here, just like this. Remember, this is going to go on plain laser copy paper. Move this one, and we can actually turn this one just in here. Maybe I will move this down a bit and we will bring this one over here. It depends how you want it arranged. Now you'll notice that I don't have it right to the edge, so let's push this one up into the corner. Decide where things want to go. Remember, they can overlap. You don't have to worry about it because you're going to color over the insides anyway. We have the rose here, and perhaps we have another one here. Bring this one over here, and maybe this last one right here. Now these are all pens, and they are going to go onto your piece of laser paper so that when you draw them on, you're all ready to go. So let's continue. So we're going to draw it on, of course, laser paper. So I'm going to have to go find it. So let's go copy paper. Let's just go copy and see what we get. Laser copy paper. Done. Now it's going to ask us to load the different colored pens as we go through, and then it wants a fine point blade. Well, we don't want to cut anything here. So we have to go back and make sure we have nothing set up as cut. So let's cancel this. And let's go back and we're going to cancel this because obviously something is set up as a cut. And let's highlight this and let's scan down here. Everything looks like pen. We must have missed one little thing for a cut, and this could happen so easily to anybody. Pen, 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 pen. Oh, pens. Okay, this flower right here is set as a basic cut. That should be a pen. So we'll just make that one a pen. And it wants it in black, which is just fine. We can leave it as that. And then we have another basic cut here. And that should also be a pen. And we'll leave that one as black as well. Now it looks pretty good. We want to make sure we're all grouped together. Just want to group it, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to move it onto another mat. Now let's attach everything together that we've got it all grouped. That looks pretty good. So that should not move. This should be the design that comes over onto our shirt. Now I'm not too sure if it's going to be too wide, but we're going to find out. Let's click on Make It. Now if we take a look at it, it's like 11.5. So we're pretty good for our copy paper that's going to fit on here. We'll just have to remember to move it in a bit. So we're at 11.5. Yeah, we look pretty good for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to now have this draw on laser paper according to these pen colors that we've picked. And we're going to use our Infusible ink pens when it asks us to draw. So let's just continue. Now we have to pick our paper once again, so we're going to have to click on here and type in copy. Search for copy paper and laser copy paper. There we go, we're done. Now it's going to ask us for the various inks and the fine tip blade, which will also be in there. And it's telling us we're doing black first, then turquoise, orange, raspberry, purple, wine, dark green. So you can line these up ready, so every time it starts and stops, waits for you, you can put in the right pen. So let's go ahead and let's cut this, I mean not cut it, but let's get this all onto our laser copy paper so that we can put it on a t-shirt. So I'll see you over on the demo table. Okay, it is our turn now to put together our Infusible ink project. Let me just pull the paper where we had it print. Now I had a little issue with some of mine over here, but I'm going to go ahead and use this as a pattern anyway. The whole idea behind the infusible ink is that I should be able to put it onto my project, iron it into place, and it will stay there. Now this is just laser copy paper that we did this on and printed it. It had a lot of detail to it, so we'll see what's going to happen here. I have a purple t-shirt that I am going to use. I bought this one at, I believe I bought it at Costco for $4. It's an Ellen Tracy, and it has a perfect amount of polyester in it. So this is the one we are going to use. Now I have below here is my pad that I'm going to use. But I am going to protect my pad, and I'm going to protect it with a piece of paper here. This is just cardstock, and I like to protect mine because I really don't want to stain my pad. So I'm going to take one of these pieces of paper. I'm going to put it inside of my shirt so nothing bleeds through. My shirt is protected on both sides that way. I'll just place this inside here. Make it as flat as possible. There we go. Check both pieces that way. So we have the piece of paper on the pad, and I'm just going to try and make sure that it is centered as best as possible. Now, this is an experiment for me as well because I have not made this work for me before. Now, on the heat guide, according to the heat guide with the marker, I had to set my easy press to 385 degrees, and it wants to go for 40 seconds. So this is, we're going to place this on top. Now I've got it quite wide, so I'm not too sure if all of it will appear. I'm doing this on the back side of my shirt. And then I don't want to have my iron played with either. I could use parchment paper, or I can use a piece of cardstock such as this to place it over top to make sure everything stays in place. So now we are ready to add our iron on. So I'm just going to bring it over, and I'm stuck on the table here. Just move the cord out of the way, and we're going to go over the center here. Make sure I have it even on both sides so I get all of it. Now I printed this a couple of days ago, so I'm not too sure if this is going to work, but I will give it the timer. Now I got the timing amount from the heat guide from Cricut, and that's a really important part. You must follow through on what the heat guide is in order to get a good heat transfer from what you've been working on. Now, since these are the markers and pens, they should go through. We've got 14 more seconds to take a look at it, and we'll see if it came through. If not, we'll add the heat press one more time just to see if that works. So 4 more seconds. Okay, so now I'm just going to move this out of the way. That is very, very, very hot. I'm going to take my piece of paper, move it off to the side, and then I'm just going to take a look. And wow, look at that. That is so perfect. So this is what we started with. Now this is a dark material, and this comes through right here on everything I had here. I had a little dot here, so I get the extra little dot, but that is just fine. This turned out so beautifully. I'm really pleased with the results because I wasn't too sure what I was going to get because I had left it for a couple of days. So I hope you have a chance to try some of the markers and play with a t-shirt. This is the back of my t-shirt. Now I can take my markers and I can color in here now and then apply the heat once again. So let me just get my infusible markers out. So I have a set of infusible markers. You notice I store them upside down. So I can now come through. Now remember, I've got paper underneath, not to worry about it so much. So I could start filling in some of these areas and apply the heat again, which is really interesting because then I can make this come out more vibrant than what it was before. This is a lot of fun, just adding some extra color. This one didn't turn out as much. It was on the edges. So I'm just going to add some extra color to it on the outside edges. And this is just to show us an example of what you can do with it. There we go. Lots of pieces of tulip here. Can bring those back in. Now this is a gorgeous little rose. I might use a different color for the rose. Now I could use, let's see, I've got a different color pink that I can use on the rose just to make it a little darker. I can just add some touches and pieces to it. And I'll just do a few because this is an example of what you can do to make this look really interesting and creative. Don't have to do a lot, just add some little touches to it. And then we'll apply the heat again. Just giving a little extra, and of course we have the purple that we had on here before, so I could fill in a few of these with the purple. I'll just do a couple just to show you how this works. I probably could have used a white shirt to have this stand out even more. But this is absolutely amazing, 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 amazing. Looks really sweet. And maybe I'll add a little extra green here to some of my green ones as well. Just put some dark spots in here just to have it stand out a bit. Don't have to do a lot, just a little bit. And you could do this with anything. If you put the outline of anything in here and then you can color it all in later, that is really wonderful. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little extra here as well. Maybe bring this down. It's starting to look a little more artistic. Now this one I can hardly see the outline, so maybe I'm going to use a different color to try and bring that out. Maybe a nice orange color. Try to bring this out a little more. So after we colored in the little parts and pieces of this design, I applied the iron one more time. And it picked up some of the colors here. Some of them are faded away, and I think it's just because of the background of the color, but you get the whole idea that you can keep ironing different things on as you go, and the colors soak right into the material, so they're absolutely perfect. So I'm actually quite pleased with the way this has turned out. And I know that you'll be able to use a lot of your infusible ink markers. The biggest key is to have a plain piece of copy paper, laser copy paper, where you draw it on. I had a couple of holes in my paper, but this is the exact design that we started out with, and you can see that on the screen. I just let it sit for a couple of days before I actually ironed it on, and it still worked beautifully. One last thing is you have to remember to use the heat guide from Cricut. That is really key to the whole process. Follow their directions. So until next time, I hope you really enjoyed this. Happy crafting.